All right, well, let's talk about the statues of Madison Square. This is William H. Seward, the first New Yorker honored with a statue, 1876. Seward was governor, a U.S. senator, and Secretary of State under Lincoln, most famous for his purchase of Alaska, which was known as Seward's Folly. Seward faces the Flatiron Building, which was briefly known as Burnham's Folly, and between 23rd and 24th was the Fifth Avenue Hotel, which was known as Enos's Folly. We have a Folly Square. This is our Folly Square. The legend about the statue is that Randolph Rogers, who had already done a sculpture of Lincoln in Philadelphia, used the exact same cast for Seward's body and popped on a new head. The truth, he wasn't paid his normal fee, so he may have recycled, though he did make significant changes in the dress, paper, and positioning. And I was thinking, if it's that easy, other possibilities could be, I like that, or, better, or maybe even this. Roscoe Conkling. Who was he? Calm down, I'm about to tell you. He was a political boss who lost the Republican nomination to Rutherford B. Hayes. He was caught in the blizzard of 1888 and was lost in or near Union Square or Madison Square, depending on your source. He was found, brought home, and died 6 weeks later. Now, Conkling ran a Republican political machine, and one of his politicians was Chester A. Arthur, the 21st president. Arthur was the vice president for Garfield, who was shot early on and died in 1881. Shortly after midnight, at his brownstone on Lexington Avenue, Chester Arthur took the oath of office. Who cares? Well, besides George Washington, Chester Arthur was the only president to be sworn into office in New York City. And who will be remembered as the greater president, George Washington or Chester Arthur? Only time will tell. And now the greatest statue in the park, the Farragut Monument. This was the first major work done by Augustus St. Gaudens. You remember Augustus? He did Diana with the bow and arrow. He did Peter Cooper. He did Sherman up at 59th Street. This statue was a national sensation. It was the first public appearance of Art Nouveau in the country. Stanford White designed the pedestal. There are curves, there's motion, as if he's on the water. You see waves and currents. You see dolphins and crabs. Farragut was considered the greatest naval commander of the Civil War and later served as a pallbearer at Lincoln's funeral. Here he's depicted in uniform, the wind whipping his coat. He's famous for the capture of Mobile Bay, which was a Confederacy's last port open on the Gulf of Mexico. Now, the harbor was mined.
Yours?
No, mined. The harbor was mined. There were barrels floating in the water, set to explode on contact. They were known as torpedoes, and he urged his ships on with the battle cry,
"Give me liberty or give me death."
No, that's Patrick Henry.
To be or not to be?
To be or not to be?
Remember the Alamo.
There's no Alamo. Damn the torpedoes. Full speed ahead.